Okay, you guys, this is what they're saying. It's called the Democrat response. So I looked up on Google, YouTube, I Googled it and I said the Democrat response. And now they did the Trump address was live and it had like 14,000 2CTV. And then I noticed that all the good channels were having it live. I watched it on 2CTV, and so I want to see what they're getting. Look, only 2,000 are watching, 4,005, 151 watching. Then there's a protest going on. Also with only 151 watching, 62 are watching. This is these people. I don't like this channel. I watched it a couple times and figured out they're not good. I don't like them. I mean, maybe others do, but look, 6,000. Trump's lives on those channels, I didn't look at all the channels, but they were, the least of them were 6,000. The least. And this right here is the most I've seen so far. It's so pathetic. 3 watching. Is that her channel? No, that's NBC Montana. This is her channel. 11,000 are watching. And this sounds ridiculous. You should be ashamed. This was an hour ago. So they ran this while he was talking, you know, and they got how many? 14,000 views. I mean, I just am trying to investigate. This is now kind of over, so it dwindled, but it was very, very, very high. Okay, after... Oh, okay, that's, I guess... So, it's just... This is, again, see how high it is. I don't know if they're interrupting.
You have to see this because it looks like witchcraft. Because you only need to spray it once, and for the second term.
Interesting. It looks like witchcraft. I've noticed those fake IAI commercials are using a lot of Bible in them. Like, oh, Jesus says in the Bible, blah, blah, that you should do this for your health. Sorry. 4 hours ago.
Public dissatisfaction with the economy, and on the international front, major tensions in the Middle East. Well, soon the President and Mrs. Trump will depart the White House to make the 16-block trip down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Capitol. The speech begins at 9 p.m., and President Trump is expected to make an argument for why voters should back Republicans in this November's midterm election. We'll talk more about the message of tonight's address with the 2 guests we have with us here in the studio. But first, back up on Capitol Hill. Arrivals for tonight's address already underway.
But that's all 4 hours ago. But I just wanted to show you, and you know what is really sad is they sat down, they didn't stand up, and in the end, I went ahead and turned on my Channel 2 news because I wanted to see if they were showing the standing ovation of the people that he brought up. If they cammed in on him, panned the camera. Hold on. Oops.
At home and abroad.
Gross.
Gross.
I wanted to see if they were panning in on the victims of the terror and that he had as guests. Anyway, so you know what's going to be really sad is the Democrats, which I did listen to a little bit of Channel 2 before now I guess the news is on, but before they cut in with this lady from whatever state, I forget, and it was David Muir, of course, and his weirdos, And all they're talking about is, oh, we don't understand. Or, I mean, the Americans want to know about the economy and he still hasn't told us anywhere. I mean, listen, they are so pathetic. It's insane. Like, they're just, their little demons inside are screaming and screaming. I'll just turn this around. So, hi, Bobs. Trump gave stats. He gave numbers, and they're still going to complain. And when Trump tells, I was going to make a list. I was going to rewatch it again and just like make a list because, and there's this one channel, I think it's called The White House. And all the time it was waiting for it to go live before the camera started showing the crowd. All that time he had like a caricature type Trump with his hand on the Bible. Well, for one time when I watched, he was looking down, like praying maybe. And then the other time he was talking, but there was no sound. But on the side of the caricature picture with all the crowd behind him, it had a list, rolling list continually of all the things he's done. And that had 14,000 waiting to watch it. And then that's when I realized, I'm like, I don't know what I did. I flipped around and then I saw that other channels were doing this live. So I saw Tusi doing it, and he's an Iranian, and in Britain. But anyway, so Trump tells everything. He gives all the evidence and all the facts. Oh no, Angel. She's throwing up, if you can hear that. But it's just so sad how the Democrats will complain. They wouldn't stand and clap when these victims of terror, these mothers who have lost their children to sociopaths that they let in. And I'm so glad Trump, he pointed at them, y'all saw it, saying, you guys are despicable. Look, you won't even stand. And see, I'm saying you ought to watch these Democrats and all that they're saying. I don't want to really, but I might. And I might see some on here on YouTube, but I don't know what my channel is going to say. But, they're just pathetic. They don't have a leg to stand on, and they're always caring about the rights of the fringe of society that are demonically possessed in the first place, and they want to raise that up. No, the Christians have to be raised up so we can help the demonically possessed get out of that weird demonic behavior. But instead, they want to glorify the demonic behavior, transgender, gay, opening borders, lying about taxes, poisoning the minds of ignorant young adults that want to go out and assassinate people all the time that are speaking truth. And it's so evil. I also wanted to do a video eventually, if I can get my list together correctly, and because I did one already on a post, a short one, but you guys, if you just stop and think about all the bad and all the good that we just saw, but then also think of the past. A school shooting is kind of normal. Volcanoes are kind of normal. Earthquakes are kind of, everything is getting so normal when it's not. And it's either people are getting conditioned to the bad news and they're just saying, I'm not going to pay attention anymore. It's too depressing. But I'll tell you, even some, like a couple of secular channels I watched lately about this Epstein stuff, they even see that there is really no hope. if Trump doesn't get the rest of his term, meaning full power, and then what comes after him, they are really feeling hopeless. And you can hear it, how they're kind of getting a light bulb, like, what happens when it's over, kind of light bulb, like you need an eternity with Jesus Christ kind of deal. And it seems to be coming to that. God is trying to make it so obvious. And my list, I wanted to make a list of things that are kind of conditioning people, like they're starting to say, oh, another earthquake. Well, but when it first started happening, and when the school shootings started, back in the old, way long time ago, it would be on the news continually. But now there's so much stacked and stacked and stacked. They just kind of breeze over it for a little while. And after a little while, because there's another catastrophe right around the corner. This is, first of all, total lawlessness has abounded. People are either conditioned to it or they're sleeping in it. Sleeping, they're not sober. They're drunk. Not literally, but figuratively. Jesus says, be sober-minded. So anyway, I think it's either conditioning some to just, it's too scary for their little minds, and they just go out and play video games or watch TV all the time. Netflix binging, something like that. Or they, oh, let's go have a vacation, or let's go out and do, they try to numb themselves. Here, Dad. And then some that are awake to it, but yet they're not Christians. They're seeing how, and totally, Epstein totally ran the world. I'm really thinking, and so this is why I'm working on a list, because I'm thinking, what are the connections here? How things are exploding, and also good things, like, I'm making a list, like all the good things, and it's Trump doing damage control. But I think it's too much. If it's not, it's not. Praise God. But if we can get we're going up the hill. If we can go up, reach the top of the hill, then the Democrats will be silenced, and they're going to stop. They're just going to crawl back into their caves and cry and curl up in a fetal position, right? They'll know that their voice will no longer be believed. But I'm just saying that, and I think I heard something about Trump has signed something that to where there's going to be some facial recognition and ID, and what did that mean to me? Let's see. That's where you can prove that you have to vote as well, like when you get pulled over by a cop, which I haven't, but they say that you don't have to show your driver's license because they get it from your tags. It's where everybody will be in the database or something like that. So, darn, I forgot what I was going to say about that. But it's good in a way, but it's also a sign, okay, that it's being set up. Things are being set up. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I forgot what it was about and why it's good. But it's also good because it's a sign. And I'm gonna make a list or some lists and show you all the proof that it's the end. When it's all spread out and just peppered around and talked about peppering, you can't really see it. But when it's all conglomerated into a basket in one place, you're like, wow, that's a lot. And this Epstein thing, it's a connection somehow. I don't know how. I'm asking Jesus still, and I don't know who he worked for, unless it was the Rothschilds or the other ones who have always, Nobody owns their own money. I know the history of that. Is it the Rockefellers and Rothschilds? So they own the bank, and that's what they did. They figured that out, how they can handle all that back in early 1900s, I think. You can find the history on that in the documentary. That's why we have Federal Reserves, I think is what it is called. We don't control the Federal Reserves. It's the United States Federal Reserve, but we, I think, handed it over to the Rothschilds like in 1919 or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of giving you some clues here, and you can go find facts. But you guys, if you put them all together, you'll see that it's all prophecy, even down to the one list in Timothy, maybe, where he says the signs of the end and children disobedient to parents, children disobedient to their parents. That's basically children not respecting their parents. That was an example, I think, maybe on the Trump State of Address thing. Children are being taught not to adhere to a strict right or wrong. They're blurring the lines. There's nothing wrong and there's nothing right. It's all one lump. And so then what do you think is going to happen with that? They're teaching them that in kindergarten. And then when they grow up, by the time they go to college, they have no standards or morals. And if their parents try to teach them or train them, they don't have to obey the parent. Look at the guy who bought his kid a gun, if you've watched that, any bit of it. And the mother knew that dad was such a deadbeat, thinking he was loving his child. And his child, he knew, could possibly murder somebody. The cops even came to his house after it, and he goes, "Oh God, his sister just texted me and asked where he said it. He goes, I'm like, oh God, did he shoot somebody at school?" I mean, he already knew his son was mentally ill. Okay, so example, that's that list of what people will be like in the end days. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And Jesus, baby.
You even snore with your eyes open, Daddy.
He does that sometimes. He'll like snore with his eyes open. Yeah. I just think if there were a list of, I mean, just for an example, what little I have, yeah, the Epstein. I think he ran the world through blackmail, and he enticed them with from A to Z. If you want to be a cannibal, and this is exactly, I've said this so many times, cannibalism, not just in the literal sense, but the figurative sense. The Democrats are literally cannibalizing. They're trying to teach you to just cannibalize yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and then you're just a raw human being with no boundaries, limits, or standards. Lawlessness. And so Epstein had certain clients that liked young women, some that liked babies, children, some that liked sacrifice, some that, he was very evil. And this is how satanic worshipers are. They do everything opposite. So they have to defile the children. How do you defile a child? You rape it, you murder it. That is God's heart there. All of it is. You manipulate the mind like he did with these young women. You crush their spirit. You manipulate them. You torment them. You torture them. You sell them. How many virgins did Epstein de-virgin? That's horrific. Virginity of a woman is very sacred. And he did that and it was rape. And I'm sure he sold some that were virgins to his, oh, what would you like? What's your flavor? What kind of sickoness do you like? Yeah. And so he did it all. And all of his clients, whatever they liked. And then he gets video. It's the same thing with Hollywood. I just heard something about Ashton Kutcher and Pete Diddy, the one that was on trial for a while, with freak-offs. Okay, so that has been going on in Hollywood. All these actors and actresses that people love. I have a relative that worked in Hollywood, and he has told me some names, and he has told me some shocking things, and I'm sure they could tell me more. But I had already learned that in church when I was a young kid. Not a kid, but like a young adult. And we didn't grow up together. So I don't know what he was taught. I didn't know where he didn't even go to church by then because he was the youngest and he didn't learn that in church. He was in Hollywood, worked with Hollywood stars and the names, and not just the stars, the producers, the directors. And I'm like, yeah, I believe it. I've been taught that. I've read books. I've heard sermons. I've heard teachings. Yeah, I knew that. And he proved it. And he didn't even know that until he experienced it. So Epstein, that doesn't shock me. And it's probably worse than Hollywood. But I know Hollywood is doing this stuff too, because that's why Hollywood is evil. Now, I understand that you don't maybe know what's going on, the back history or backstory, whatever, and you're just enjoying the movie, fine. But you just are very ignorant if you don't understand that there are messages going across those screens that you can't see. I mean, do you even know the Bible by heart? I mean, you know some songs and some movie lines by heart. How many Bible verses do you know by heart? Come on. How rude. So I think Epstein ran the world. But what baffles me is when something is that demonic, how do they not take over and just take over? Why, if that's that demonic, why are they even afraid of the law? Why do they have to work around the law and sneak around when they can just pay somebody off? Or maybe they have paid somebody off, or maybe they've got somebody blackmail and they had somebody, and they're moving so slowly. It's been going on for 2,000 years, or longer, actually, before Jesus, like 6,000 years. So that I haven't figured out yet, because they're so powerful, they're so rich, they are above the law most of the time, obviously. If they're that influential, the elite, and that powerful, and that evil, I have no idea why. And they can kill people. They can just assassinate them. Like they did probably Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe and whatever. So if they're that powerful, what stops them from being afraid of an honest peon congressman or senator or a president? Which I don't know why they chose one and not others and whatever. So, okay. So there's Epstein. Look, Trump did the impossible. The impossible. The whole world. No, Jerusalem can't be a capital. Do not touch Jerusalem. He did it, and the world did not end. I found out that Venezuela is a terroristic country, not just for the obvious, but they Okay, so Christianity is supposed to reach the ends of the world, Jesus said. Islam is trying to do the same thing. So they're all over in the Middle East. They're here now in the West and in Europe, and that's the West. And Venezuela was that other part of the country, and they're all up in there too. So Trump getting rid of Maduro also got rid of terrorism, and they're bitching about the tariffs. So he was saying how it's national security. Tariffs are part of national security. That's this little loophole thing he was doing because that's what he put it under or something like that. Hey, I'm not political, so I'm just kind of regurgitating stuff that's probably, I'm saying it wrong. But, so yeah, it literally should be under that title, under national security, because the tariffs are preventing these countries from not only raping us, but they are terroristic countries as well. Anyway, check, done. Jerusalem, the capital, done. He's about to do Iran, which is a big chunk of the Middle East, and more. He's going to do more than Iran. He's not going to go all the way out there and all this time and just get, he's going to get the head of the snake, more like the head of the octopus or the spider, because he'll get rid of the head, but there are cells everywhere, all over there. And yes, it will cripple them severely, but just like Mexico lost their leader, well, there's going to be another leader that's going to take over unless, didn't Trump want to do something like with Canada and Mexico, like buy them also? Like he's wanting to buy Iceland, which I hope he does, because Iceland is, again, national security. Everything Trump has done basically has been about national security. And everyone is saying, don't you think that's miraculous? It's almost as miraculous as the Jews coming back to their land and they're still alive, meaning their nationality has not been genocided from all the pogroms, all that. They should be extinct, but they're not, because God said in his word over and over that he's going to leave a remnant, and they're tiny. So, yes, everything that, and then if you wanted to list everything the Democrats try to do, they do want to destroy free speech. What they want to do is destroy Christian speech, and they want to destroy truth, and they want to criminalize Christian speech as hate speech, and their hate speech as free speech. Okay, it's so evil. It's amazing. So Israel, it's almost as miraculous as Israel, because Trump is getting, if he got rid of terrorism, the whole world is going to be safe. If God lets him do that, the whole world is going to be safe. Do you understand that? Do you understand the impossibility of that? When something is impossible, that's when it's a miracle. All these years, nobody has done it. He's done it. He's doing it. He's not going to go out there spending how much a day to be out there? Multi-billion dollars a day just to be out there with all the equipment they've got. That's very expensive. He's not going to go to that expense for nothing and come back empty-handed. That's not Trump, because Trump has a constitution. Trump has moral values, and he can't ignore them like a lot of people do. He can't turn a blind eye. It's against his constitution, just like I've said a long time ago in my videos. That you can't make me steal. That's just not how I'm made. God did not make me that way. You cannot make me steal. I don't care if there's like a pile of money in the room and I'm all alone with no cameras. I'm not even going to take one little piece of it. I will not steal. I don't care if nobody's looking. And God made me that way. God made Trump that way. And Trump is on a mission because God, listen, all these years of shit presidents or whatever. The world, America hasn't been good, and all of a sudden, this guy and all the demons are like, they're like foaming at the mouth. They're beside themselves. And Trump is like a phenomenon. He's like a phenomenal president. And I know some may think, oh, he brags. No, he's stating facts. I've heard Christian channels say he's such a braggart. No, that's not bragging. That's not bragging. When you have to let somebody know what your productivity is, it's not bragging. So shut up. Okay, so the porn and sex trafficking, that's gonna probably be the last thing to be hit, I guess. But it's probably, since Epstein, it's really they're laying low, hopefully. I don't know, unless they think, oh, everyone's distracted with Epstein right now. No one's gonna be, I don't know. I know that the help groups are still out there, like the ones that help them escape and rehabilitate them, and I pray for them, and fund, help get them back acclimated and heal them and set them free, because that demonic stuff, that atmosphere, that demonic stuff that they do to them, it's what you call soul fragmenting, and they're satanic. That's why they know how to do it. And soul fragmenting is similar to gaslighting, but in the demonic way, where you're doing everything against what God wants. You're being hateful, you're raping, you're mutilating, you are trying to destroy their soul. So it could be called multiple personalities, but it's really kind of like, maybe like that, but that's their protection mechanism. But what has happened, that's just the effect. But what has happened to cause that effect is something called soul fragmenting. So that's what the demons want to do to these people, the sex trafficked. So let's see. I think it's just a Pandora's box. That's like basically my list so far, but I'm trying to get more and organize it to give a picture, because I think we are still too focused on, we got to get it better. We got to get it better. Let's get it better. And yeah, we're fighting back the evil. We're fighting back the evil, but we can't get so wrapped up in that we forget why and what the signs are, because these are all signs that Jesus is just about here. He's just about here. And I think the Ezekiel 38 is gonna happen. And Jesus says, I will do a quick work and cut it short in righteousness. And that's what's happening right now. It's righteousness going around right now, fighting off this evil that's really too big for us. I mean, even when Trump destroys the head of the snake, it's going to be a lot of work after that. And he's taking all of these pieces of, and he's got a strategy, okay? He and his war cabinet. Everything he's really doing is a matter of necessity. It's a matter of life and death. It's a matter of national security, the laundering, the fraud, laundering of the money to terrorists, or just wasting our money. And these insurance companies, do you not know that doctors hated all that red tape? They were quitting. Their jobs to be doctors became so miserable. They wanted to help people, and yet most of their time they're spending in this insurance garbage, demonic garbage. And Trump just did something about that, you know? And the demons just want to destroy, kill, steal, destroy. That's their mission. They have to choke out the base of the root, the trunk, so that the roots cannot get any nourishment, can't get any water. And when that happens and those roots in the ground die, the tree falls headlong, because that's why you have to abide in the vine. If you don't abide in the vine, you're going to get cut off and thrown into the bonfire. This is what the devil wants. He wants to choke out the root so that the tree withers and dies. They go for the jugular, is what I'm saying. They go for the jugular. They go for the root. And it's so subtle that you don't even realize that you're being choked to death until it's here and you're dying. And that's how the devil does it. It's a slow death, and you don't even realize, because he's choking the roots. When you choke the roots, they don't die instantly. When they start dying, the tree starts dying, and also, the whole thing dies. But they go for the roots, they go for the jugular, they go for death, they go to the foundation, they go for your standards, they start blurring the lines, they start getting rid of God, they start getting rid of the sanctity of life, and they give it to offenders. They give it to criminals that come over to the border, through the border for free. They're all about the rights of the criminal. Isn't that weird? That's demonic. Because they're all about death, and every good thing Trump does. And I'm not making this about Trump. It's about God putting Trump in to show us a picture. Every good thing, all the chunk of good things he does, they want to destroy. They will find not one good thing. See? Because they're conditioning their little following or big following. They're trying to kill, steal, and destroy. If you got a Democrat up there who was interviewed by a Republican, for example, and they want to say what they want to say, right? Like I just showed you how they're in there trying to say stupid shit. But yet, if a Republican was sitting there and said, oh, but what about this? What do you want to say about that? Would they be able to say, oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Like if you said, hey, look, what about that girl, that mother who lost her daughter, and that other woman, and that other woman, and that other, and other? What would they say to that? Would they say, yeah, that's bad that those criminals did that, but we should still open our borders? See, they don't learn a lesson. They don't even broach the subject. They go tinkle, 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 let's tinkle the bell over here and stay away from the good. Let's keep it negative. And let's keep it negative. If Trump did everything perfectly, they would find something negative, okay? That is demonic in itself, because God says, whatsoever things are good, pure, lovely, think on those things. And some of these people call themselves Christians. One of the ladies on ABC tonight, I don't remember her name, she's really pretty and cute. She's a black lady, wrote a child's book for her daughter. She's a Christian. I've heard her interviewed once. This is an example of goats. They're goats. I think that's what they are. And what happens to goats is they get judged in the very, very end. But you're able to know that they are goats. The tares, we can't know who a tare is. those get taken care of right before the rapture. But maybe not. Maybe they suffer in the trip. But I'm just saying, not all Christians are equal. Some are, because the Bible says that. I'm not saying if they're saved or not. I don't even know what category that would be. What, are they not saved, but they're goats? Are they demons? Are they tares? So they're not saved. They're pretending to be saved. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the Bible terms would be like for that. But, oh, gosh, this guy. So, yes, when Trump is gone, he's got another year. I hope we go before that. But, I mean, not literally he has another year. He's got 3 more years. But I don't know if he's going to win the midterms. I don't even know why that matters. I didn't know. Well, I mean, I kind of heard why it matters. Because he doesn't have all of the Republicans. It's outnumbered or something. So he can't really get anything done. So if that's the case, then what is a president good for if you're outnumbered? I don't think that's fair. I think that should never happen. Because if a president's power and authority is based solely on if he's got the majority of Republicans or Democrats, otherwise his hands are tied, then what is he good for? How can he do anything as a president? I don't know. I'm not political. I don't know. Anyway, this is probably way too long about not much. I mean, it's important stuff, but I'm not bringing it out. But if there's anybody out there that sees this and says, hey, I can make a list. I can make several categories of lists of several different subjects that can prove that this is miraculous at the same time as it being hideous, heinous, and lawless. We are watching the devil himself at work out in the open, loud and proud right now. And that in itself is a sheer miracle that we are not all eaten alive, because God has kept them all at bay. They're all swarming at the chain link fence trying to rip through right now. But there's this shield. They're not allowed. And when we're gone, they got free reign, okay? The world is really going to go crazy. But Trump being in there per God's instructions and ruling is the miracle. It's holding all this back. To me, I wish I could make a better list, and I'll still work on it, but there's just so many things that are so stacked up that it's miraculous, and it's so prophetic. So I hope somebody comes up with something like this on their channel. I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head. They're like Christians that are looking for the rapture that would be comparing this to that or not. But this guy, why is he still on? I thought this is what I hate when I watch the news, and then if it's over and I forget to turn it off, that jerk is on my television screen. So yeah, I just gave you some examples. I don't know how this Epstein fits in, but his tentacles ran far and wide, and they were severe. And, well, hold on, I'm not fully dressed. Okay, hang on, baby. I need 2 hands for that. All right, well, I'm done, and God bless you guys, and this is very exciting. Trust me, in the blink of an eye, you will be in the presence of Jesus, and you will feel like you are finally home. You're going to feel like you're finally home. You will not miss anything. You're going to feel like I'm finally with my creator and my savior. There's going to be nobody else on your mind. You're going to be so in love with Jesus. It's a love you'll never be able to comprehend as a human being. So just don't be afraid of it. He says you should long for his return. You'll get a crown. Everything on this earth that you love so much is because of him. And he has something up there that he knows you'll love as well. That's where you have to trust him. Because if he knows how to give you what you love on earth, he knew you'd love it. And you do. He knows how to flip your switch in heaven too. So please, he says, don't be attached to this world. Don't be entangled in this world. Don't love this world more than you love him and want to be with him and watch for him and etc. Okay? So just get over the world, kind of let it go. But we still fight for the world because we love people, because Jesus loves people. So, and he wants us to love people. Hang on, baby. All right. Well, God bless you guys. Bye.